guys, welcome back. Oh, I missed you so much. I hope you guys are doing well. Hi, third grade. Okay, so the last lesson we were talking about the election of 1800, the very intense election between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. And they went head to head on their campaign, again for the second time. But this time, Thomas Jefferson won. He became our third president. And we also talked about what democracy was. Democracy was rule by the people, where the people get to choose more about what happens to our country than the government does. So this session, we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to kind of change gears a little bit and talk about something else. Remember, we said that Thomas Jefferson wanted to move west. He wanted to expand out to the west. Well, what we're going to talk about today was one of the reasons why he wanted to expand out to the west. And that reason is natural resources. This is just one of the reasons. There's many, many reasons why they wanted to go west. We're just going to talk about one of them today, and that's going to be natural resources. So let's go over what natural resources are. Natural resources are anything from nature that God created for people to use. So anything that naturally was created by God. Here are some examples. We have soil, which land, soil, because in here you can grow crops. That is definitely a resource. We can use it to benefit ourselves. Trees, all right? I have branches, okay? Now, obviously you can't make a house out of these unless you're a bird, but branches represent big logs from trees, and trees are used to make buildings and wood and things like that. Water, definitely water is a resource. Crops, all right? Crops are things that we grow, and we have seeds, okay? So these seeds are resources that we can grow over and over again. And rocks are another resource that God has given us. And also when you talk about rocks, you're also including gems like diamonds and amethysts and rubies and jade and things like that. Those are all types of rocks. Then there are some other things also that we have. There is aluminum, there is plastic, and there is glass. Now, some of these things are made from God, given to us straight from God, and other things are man-made that we use the things that God has given us. So obviously soil and trees and rocks and water and seeds are things that God has given us. But when we get to the aluminum and the plastic and the glass, those are resources, but they are man-made resources. We created those out of the things that God has left for us. So those are what natural resources are. Now, where do we find resources? Where are they located? Well, they are located all over the country, but not all the same things are located in the same places. So the resources that we would have on the east side of the country are not the same resources that we would have on the west side or even in the central part of it. The resources that we have on the north part of the country are not going to be the same resources that we have on the south side. So depending on where we live in the country will determine the types of resources that we have. And all of them are important. We need all of them to have a successful country. So that's why all of the resources are important no matter where they're at. In fact, we have some things like Florida. One of the resources that we have in Florida is citrus fruits, lemons and oranges and key limes and grapefruits. You can't grow those up north where it snows all the time. So that is something that Florida has that the north doesn't, but that's a very important resource to our country. Another resource would be oil, okay? Oil is not grown here, or you can't find oil everywhere, but in some places we have it. Texas has some, Alabama, Mississippi, and Pennsylvania also have oil. Corn is another one. Some of the big states that have corn as their resource are Indiana and Illinois. They have corn. And then there's some other resources also, like trees. Trees are definitely a resource. We said that. Well, there's different types of trees that grow in different places of the country, and those are their resources. So we need all of the different resources, but they grow in different places. And now that we have an idea of what natural resources are, natural resources are broken up into two different categories. There are renewable resources, and then there are non-renewable resources. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is renewable resources. R-E. Re is the prefix. Do you guys remember what re means? Yes, it means again. So renewable resources are resources that can be made again naturally. All right, so these are ones that can be replenished, can be replaced, or can be regrown. All right, trees. Trees we can replenish. We can plant seeds and make new trees. Water. Water can be replenished through the water cycle. We have that. Soil. Soil can be used again and again and again. And animals. Animals reproduce and they can be made again. Some of the renewable energies that we have are water, wind, and sun. The water is one of the most common sources of renewable energy that we have. Wind is also one that can be collected. When you see all the big windmills or the wind turbines around, they collect the wind and they save it and then they use it for energy. Same thing with the sun. The sun can be stored up in the solar panels. They collect the heat from the sun into the solar panels, and then when they're ready to use it, they use the energy from the sun. So these are renewable energy things. These are things that can be made again naturally. All right, so that's renewable. Now we're going to go over to the non-renewable resources. Our prefix here is non. Do you remember what non means? Right, it means not. So these are resources that can no longer be formed today. So they cannot be formed again. There's so much of them on the earth already, and they're not going to have more of it. Some of those examples are coal, oil, petroleum, rocks, and natural gases. All right? So these things cannot be used again. So this rock, we have this rock as our natural resource. It's a non-renewable resource. It cannot be remade. It cannot reproduce, and it cannot be formed again. Okay? That's that one. Now we have some other things. We have aluminum, and we have the plastic and the glass. Those are also non-renewable resources. They cannot be made again, but they can be used again in a special way. Do you guys know what that's called? Right, it's called recycling. That's right. So some items you can recycle to use again, but they're not made again from natural materials. Now, things like coal and natural gas cannot be recycled and it cannot be reused. Once it's gone, it's gone. So that's what a non-renewable resource is. Once it's gone, you can't have it anymore. But the renewable ones can be made again naturally. Okay? So we have two big ideas for today. We have that God has provided resources for us to use. Those are the natural resources. God provides for us. He made sure that we had everything we needed to be successful. Not just in this country, in all the countries, all across the world. There are different resources all over the world. And God made sure that He took care of us because He loves us so much. And then there are two different types of resources. There is the renewable ones that can be made again naturally. And then there are the non-renewable ones that can no longer be formed today. All right? Now, for your assignment today, okay, there we go. Okay, so for your assignment today, I have different pictures here, and there's an R and an N under each picture, and the name of what the picture is. What I want you to do is look at the picture and read the word, and tell me if it's a renewable or a non-renewable resource. If it's renewable, circle the R. If it's non-renewable, circle the N. So is soil renewable or non-renewable? Circle. And the same thing with oil and with plants and with air and with water and coal and trees, minerals. Minerals are kind of like rocks and gems. The sun, animals, metal, and natural gas. All right. Now you don't have to print this out. You can just write the word and then write renewable or non-renewable. So for soil, you can write the word soil and then write renewable or non-renewable next to it. And then you can email it to us. And then it will be for a participation grade. All right, guys. This was a quick lesson. Relax. I hope you're having a nice time. Staying healthy. And I will see you soon. Bye.